So, today we're diving into a really big idea called Power Protocol. And it all starts with a simple, but honestly, a pretty game-changing question. What if all the value you create inside one app wasn't just trapped there? What if it could actually move with you, across your entire digital life?
I mean, think about it for a second. You spend hours, maybe even your own cash, grinding to earn items and currency in your favorite game. But the second you close that app, poof, that value basically disappears. It's stuck. And this isn't just a little annoying. It's a massive design flaw in how our digital world is built.
There's actually a name for this. It's called the walled garden. The idea is that every app, every game, every platform, they all build their own little private economy. And your value, your time, your digital stuff, it's all locked up inside those walls. It can't talk to anything else. It's fragmented, and that's on purpose.
But what if you could just tear down those walls? That is the core promise behind Power Protocol. See, it's not just another crypto token. It's a pitch for a completely different kind of foundation for our digital world, a universal economic engine.
So what is it really? Well, Power Protocol is basically a shared infrastructure layer that any developer can just plug right into. So instead of building yet another isolated little economy from scratch, they can join this huge, interconnected network where value flows freely between totally different apps.
Honestly, the best way to get your head around this is to think of it like a universal power grid, right? You've got a power plant that generates electricity for countless different homes and businesses. Power Protocol wants to do the same thing, but for economic energy. It provides that common infrastructure that lets everything else just run.
Okay, so how do they actually pull this off? They give developers a whole toolkit. You've got these modular APIs. Think of them like pre-built Lego blocks that make it super easy to add reward systems. They also provide the whole LiveOps infrastructure needed to run in-app events, and it all works across multiple blockchains. And to top it all off, they've even got an incubator to help new projects get started and join the ecosystem. Of course, an engine needs fuel. And for this whole interconnected system, that fuel is one single token, the $Power token. It's the economic lifeblood, the thing that flows through the veins of this entire ecosystem, connecting every app and every single user.
Now, let's take a look at how this token is designed, because this part's important. Out of 1 billion total tokens, more than 65% is set aside for community rewards and growing the ecosystem. Now, that is a very deliberate choice. It means the protocol is designed from the ground up to encourage two things: users to participate and developers to build. And those are the two things you absolutely need for long-term success.
So what does this actually mean for you? Well, it's actually pretty simple and really powerful. You could earn power tokens by, say, completing a quest in one game, and then you can just turn around and use those exact same tokens to buy a new skin or an NFT in a completely different app from a totally different developer. Suddenly, the walls are gone.
Okay, the theory sounds amazing, right? But does it actually work in the real world? Let's look at the proof, the hard data that shows this system is way more than just a concept on a slide.
The main testing ground for all of this has been a game called Fableborn. This is where the rubber really meets the road. It's where we can see if players actually want to use a shared economy like this, and if it can generate real value.
And the results from their public beta? They're pretty striking. Fableborn pulled in over 380,000 players. That's a huge number of people kicking the tires and showing interest in this new model.
But getting people to try something is one thing. Getting them to stick around is what really matters. At its peak, the game had 108,000 people playing in a single day. That shows real engagement, not just curiosity, but people actively participating.
And here's the real kicker. All of that activity, it translated into over $1.1 million in revenue. This isn't some theoretical made-up value. It's real money flowing through the system, proving that this economic engine can actually, run.
So what this all means is that we are way past the white paper stage here. The Fableborn numbers are proof that there's a functioning, breathing economy already happening, with real tangible activity.
And they're not stopping there. The utility of that power token is growing. You can now use it directly on OpenSea to buy NFTs, and they're even exploring some pretty big partnerships in the regulated entertainment space. The goal here is clearly to make this token useful in as many places as humanly possible.
But look, with any project this ambitious, the future is never guaranteed. It's a path that is absolutely filled with massive potential, but also some very significant risks. So let's break down the promise and the peril that lie ahead for Power Protocol. On the one hand, the promise is huge, right? Expanding into all kinds of new apps, landing major partnerships, launching new projects from their incubator. But then you have the other side of the coin. The risks are very real. The protocol is still really dependent on Fableborn being a continued success, and it's facing some seriously stiff competition in this super volatile market. So you can kind of picture a few different ways this could all play out. In the absolute best-case scenario, Power Protocol becomes a core, foundational piece of Web3 infrastructure. A more neutral outcome, it sees stable growth, but maybe it stays stuck in the gaming world. And then, of course, in the negative scenario, it just never manages to grow beyond Fableborn, and the interest just fades away. Okay, we've covered a ton of ground here. The problem, the tech, the proof, and the possible futures. So after all of that, what's the one key thing you should really understand about Power Protocol? Let's boil it all down.
All right, here's the bottom line. First, Power Protocol is taking a swing at a real, fundamental problem with how our digital lives are structured. Second, it already has proven traction with real users and real revenue. That puts it ahead of a lot of projects. But third, and this is the most important one, its entire future hinges on one thing: expanding the ecosystem. Success or failure depends entirely on convincing more developers to tear down their walls and plug into this shared grid.
And that leaves us with the big final question. Projects like this are really forcing a choice. Are we heading toward a future of interconnected, shared digital economies where our value flows freely wherever we go? Or will the power of the big platforms just ensure that these walled gardens we live in today are here to stay? The answer to that is going to define the next chapter of the internet.